Rome's earliest law code stated that if someone was physically summoned to court and didn't stand and walk there on their own, they automatically lost the case. No excuses, no exceptions. A limp leg could cost you your land. Under Roman law, the father had absolute authority over the household. He could sell his children into slavery, choose their marriages, or even legally have them executed. This power lasted until the father died, even if the child was 60 years old. Romans loved drama, but they didn't respect actors. It was illegal for senators and high-status families to marry actors because performers were considered immoral and socially tainted. If you murdered your father, Roman law reserved a special punishment. You were sewn into a leather sack with a dog, monkey, snake and rooster, and thrown into a river. A brutal law meant to punish the worst betrayal imaginable. To keep funerals orderly, Rome banned women from excessive crying, tearing garments or wailing theatrically. They believed emotion weakened public dignity. During Augustus's moral reforms, cheating wasn't just immoral, it was illegal. You could be exiled, have property seized, or be forced into divorce. Rome literally made bad relationships a crime. The colour purple, dyed from rare sea snails, was reserved for emperors. Anyone else caught wearing full purple could be punished or even executed depending on the era. Rome banned foreign cults whenever they became too powerful or strange, including early Christianity. But Roman leaders would also randomly legalise them later. It was one of the most inconsistent parts of Roman law. Rome didn't distinguish between poisoning and sorcery. If you mixed herbs with deadly intent, you weren't just a murderer, you were a magician, and executed as such. If your poorly built structure fell and crushed a passerby or damaged property, you were fully responsible. One of the world's first public safety laws. Roman common law marriage was shockingly simple. If a woman lived with a man for 1 full year, she was legally his wife. Unless she left for 3 days, then the clock reset. Even when a slave earned or bought freedom, they still couldn't vote, hold office, or fully participate in public life. Rome allowed opportunity, just not equality. They moved water uphill, powered entire factories, and built machines that worked with astonishing precision, all using nothing but the forces of nature and clever engineering. Long before the Industrial Revolution, a Roman-Egyptian engineer named Hero of Alexandria invented what might be the first steam engine. Called the Aeolipile, it was a metal sphere mounted on 2 pipes. When heated, steam rushed through the pipes, making the sphere spin. It was essentially a miniature jet engine, 2,000 years ahead of its time. Though used mostly for temple tricks and demonstrations, Hero's steam engine showed that the Romans had already unlocked the secret of steam power. They just didn't apply it to industry. Rome's aqueducts are legendary, and for good reason. These monumental channels carried millions of gallons of water daily, entirely by the power of gravity. Built with astonishing precision, the aqueducts descended as little as 1 inch every 100 feet, ensuring water flowed smoothly for miles. They supplied fountains, baths, and homes, proving that the Romans had mastered hydraulic engineering centuries before the first electric pump. How do you tell time without electricity or even sunlight? The Romans turned to the clepsydra, or water clock. This ingenious device used a steady flow of water dripping into a container to measure time. Some advanced models had floating figures and rotating dials, marking the hours with stunning accuracy. In public places, they stood as both timekeepers and works of art, ticking away through nothing but the flow of water. The wealthy Romans didn't just live comfortably, they lived warmly. The hypocaust system was an early form of central heating, using furnaces to pump hot air beneath raised floors and through hollow walls. Bathhouses and villas could maintain cosy temperatures even in winter, all without a single wire or motor. It was, in essence, the Roman version of underfloor heating, a luxury many homes still dream of today. To move water uphill, The Romans borrowed a Greek idea, the Archimedes screw, and perfected it. A spiral tube inside a cylinder could lift water when turned by hand or animal power. Farmers, builders, and engineers used it to irrigate fields and drain mines, demonstrating Roman skill in adapting technology to real-world needs. It was simple, effective, and centuries ahead of its time. At a time when most of the world relied on muscle power, the Romans built factories run by rivers. Their watermills, like those at Barbegal in France, used cascading water to turn large wheels connected to grinding stones. These mills could process tons of grain per day, feeding entire cities. Historians call them the first industrial complexes, proof that the Romans harnessed renewable energy long before modern times. The Romans faced plenty of fires in their dense cities, but they fought back with a remarkable device, the Ctesibius pump. Using 2 cylinders and pistons, this machine could draw and shoot water in a continuous stream, essentially the first manual fire engine. It was efficient, portable, and completely mechanical. With it, Roman firefighters could control blazes using pure hydraulic power. How did the Romans build structures like the Colosseum and massive stone temples without modern cranes? Their secret: the treadwheel crane. Workers walked inside a giant wheel, like human hamsters, turning gears and pulleys that could lift stones weighing several tons. Ingenious counterweights and multiple pulleys amplified their strength, letting human muscle achieve superhuman feats. Travelling across the empire required precision. Enter the Roman odometer, a wheeled device that counted distance using nothing but gears and gravity. As a cart's wheel turned, it dropped a small pebble into a box after a set distance, 1 pebble per Roman mile. By counting the stones at day's end, officials could map roads, calculate taxes, and plan routes, a mechanical GPS of the ancient world. The Romans discovered that water could flow uphill, sort of, by using siphons. These U-shaped pipes harnessed air pressure and gravity to push water over hills or through valleys, continuing the aqueduct's path without interruption. It was one of the most counterintuitive hydraulic tricks of the ancient world, proving Rome's deep understanding of physics long before modern science formalized it. Building the empire meant mixing enormous quantities of Roman concrete, and for that, they used early mechanical mixers. These barrel-like drums were rotated by animals or hand cranks, churning lime, volcanic ash, and water into the world's most durable concrete. 2,000 years later, Roman concrete still survives, while modern versions crumble in decades. The secret wasn't just chemistry, it was clever, electricity-free engineering. Of course, Roman innovation wasn't only peaceful. Their torsion catapults and ballistae were masterpieces. They were the machines of war that defended and expanded an empire.